Hey Aries, we're going to be doing your reading for the rest of the month of March. We're looking at some theme, incoming energy, stuff to leave behind or move past, things to explore, but starting with the theme of the month. You have never a crowd on the leading edge, honor those who honor you, and be reborn daily. Let go of the past and breathe in your new incarnation. So let's just spend a minute with this because this is an interesting theme here. I just want to take a look. All right, Aries. You're going to be surprised the rest of this month. Spirit is showing me that you are absolutely sort of like here's what I'm getting. I'm getting a lot from these. So let's try to. So I'm getting a lot of information out of these two theme cards. Mainly that the people who really are there for you, who are solid, who are, I'm hearing like soul family, home, soul tribe. Spirit said you might be surprised in this month to discover who your people really are. Be reborn daily, let go of the past and breathe in your new incarnation. So that this period of time for you is a time of recognizing new energies, relationships, ambitions, and directions that really feel like very much in line with the new kind of reborn you. You've done a lot of changing this year and you are kind of reborn daily. It's been that kind of a time, and you're a leader, and who you're meant to lead, and who's meant to really follow you and honor you and like put you in that regard, that's gonna become sort of clear. I mean, that's part of what's happened. That's sort of the theme, and this new, all of this new is going to go really well with the new that is you. Because you have been sort of it's like every day is like a new birth. It's another awakening. It's been one of those, it's been that kind of a time for you. So in terms of incoming energy, let's see what we've got coming in. So I'm going to push these up and a little bit out of the way. I put it's a funny table. This is actually a curtain that I had in my old apartment. And there's always it's like a blackout curtain, and I just sort of finally found a reason for it because it holds the cards well. So in terms of what's coming in, I got some clarification on this. Aries, you've got change coming in, transform it. It's it's transformation change. And this is again, to the theme of letting go of the past. There's just so much new, because you're new, you're in a new place. And so let's take a look of this let's take a look at this incoming energy. Let's take a look at this incoming energy. You're feeling, all right. So there's a lot coming through with this card. Spirit saying, so this is almost like you've got your eyes on another energy, and this other energy, you just have this other energy just has your eyes. They have your attention. They have your gaze, really. And what Spirit wants you to know. So Spirit's showing me kind of a scenario. And with the zodiac reads, I try really hard to sort of not have it be, too personal, but if something comes through, I'm just going to bring it. And if it's for you, you're going to know it's for you. If it's not for you, just discard it. It's a collective read, so there's going to be stuff for you and things that don't really resonate. And, it's a collective read. But for someone in particular, there's real, I'm getting a really clear image. So for the Aries that I'm talking to, that you've had your eye on, an energy that you feel tremendous about of kinship, the caring, And there's something, and you haven't really been able to take your eyes off of this energy. They have your gaze. They have a hold on you, looking at them. Spirit wants you to know that, and so far as that energy is concerned, that there's a belief that you have that energy didn't hurt you. So this is very specific for someone. You may believe that energy hurt you, and that's why this is confusing. But Spirit is saying that energy did not hurt you. In fact, that energy, and this might be going back, like this could be going back years. I mean, this is sort of a while. That energy, Spirit saying, that energy did not hurt you. That energy, in fact, did the smartest imaginable thing to protect you. And Spirit is saying, even though you think you know everything, insofar as this Aries with this energy, this person did everything that they could, and they did everything right and in the smartest possible way to protect you. So whoever that's for, that's for. And for everyone else, what Spirit wants you to look at in terms of incoming energy, there's a friendship coming in. There are lots of new friendships coming in, but there's a sense in which you've kind of shut down this part of yourself that is open to new relationships. What I'm seeing here with the Seven of Cups and the Three of Cups reversed is that you've sort of decided somewhere along the way that you're not doing new relationships, you're not doing new friendships. It doesn't work out. There's a bitterness over close friends. There's a bitterness over betrayal. And then there's this like, I don't want new people and new things in my life. I don't want new friends. But Spirit is saying, actually right now, that's what we're all about. We are, you having like this, intense, like, and Spirit showing me, like getting beaten up and standing up, but like with every time you stand up, you're like, invigorated and you're new and you've sort of reconfigured things in your mind and you see things differently and you attend to things from a different perspective. Your growth is like very accelerated in the way that you attend to it. And yeah, and especially recently, real recently, it's been like, every single day seems like a brutal awakening. And so, yeah, there's a sense in which you've been reborn daily and you're like lifetimes away from where you were. And right now, this period of time is about welcoming in some new energies that are in alignment with your new way of being, but also you've been more in your head lately. It's been less about comfort and more about like learning almost. And so Spirit, in terms of your soul tribe, soul family, there are energies that you travel with from lifetime to lifetime, and you always encounter them. And Spirit is saying, some of them are around you, and that's great, but there's a whole troop, and I'm being shown, like, I'm shown a very large group that is meant for you to, like, to step into this support system, community, group of people that your soul is just being shown kind of like a braid, a really thick braid, a tapestry. Like these are related to you, and to your higher self and to your calling. And so in terms of incoming energy, you've got some friendships coming in, opportunities for friendships, opportunities, and it might even not be like specific people, opportunities to sort of integrate new information and new attitudes and sort of like new ambitions, but specific to relationships. For at least some of you, there's been this attitude of like, I don't want any new friends, I don't want any new relationships, I'm sticking with what I'm doing. They'd always, betrayal, horrible, terrible, no good. And Spirit is saying, no, not this month, and certainly not going forward. You have been trying really hard to thwart major change related to, you've been building a certain thing in a certain way and you've put tons of energy. So like when I'm seeing this like Seven of Coins and this World card in reverse, what this is saying to me is that you worked really hard You've been like toiling over, you know, a number of things, and you've put a ton of energy and resources and a ton of yourself into building something, but you're not quite there, and it's not quite where you want it to be. And there's a sense in which this, whatever you're building, whatever you're creating, and because it's a collective read, it could be a relationship, it could be a project, it could be a family dynamic, it can be a business. Like, it's going to be different for everyone. But you know, you've been working really hard to build something, and it's just starting to show like a level. You're just starting to see just a tiny bit of gain out from all of this toiling hard work, but you're trying to stifle the change that is required of you, in terms of like, you know, moving into this reborn space with sort of a new sort of group of energies around you who honor you. The word is honor. It's really important. The word is honor. So you're close, you know, Spirit's like, you know, this stuff coming in, there's stuff, and it's stuff you want. It's stuff that you desire. It's stuff that you want, right? But this incoming energy is going to challenge your belief that like there's no good and no new relationships. And it's also meant to sort of challenge this notion that like, you know, in order to get where you want to go with a certain project or relationship or whatever, you can't allow, you know, a major change. But Spirit's saying, no, allow the major change. Allow the major change, because it's bringing in this crowd of people who are going to, like, you know, have unconditional regard for you, who are going to honor you. You're very used to being sort of like keeping your heart out of the way that you make decisions, and you're really used to, you know, lately you've been very much in your head. You've been thinking about things. You've been kind of like I'm seeing someone studying. And it's a real shift, right? And so, like, what's coming? Like, this is cool. Let me just look at this for a second. The incoming energy for you is being able to allow an integration of these two energies into like where you're going and like this reborn self of yours, right? So you have this like passionate, like, almost like this is an energy of like passion in command, and so you've always been able to like let your passion drive you from project to project, person to person, thing to thing, like passionate, inspired, fiery, right? And then there's other new energy that's sort of like lately, you know, there's been a sense in which you've been in your head and you've been sort of like, you know, in this very like stark thinking sort of a place. And so this merging of like this really intelligent, decisive, intellectual kind of an energy that's like knows, like, you know, truth seeker, trying to understand, merged with this like passionate, you know, what historically, you know, sort of passionate way that you have been, and the way that you've let passion drive you. You're going to be letting passion drive you with a lot of thought involved. But spirits would caution you to not overthink yourself into a position of not letting in new energies, or, you know, getting stuck in old belief systems where you think that new energies are somehow going to be a threat. And in terms of like whatever you're trying to build and whatever you've been like toiling at, Spirit is saying like, would you please allow this big change, because it's necessary and it's for your best. And you're stifling yourself, trying to hold on to everything and have everything be, you know, the way that you thought it should be. And again, you are different. And because you're different, you're calling in a different crowd. And this is a crowd that you're meant to lead. And this is a crowd that's gonna, you know, but you can't call in this new crowd if the door is shut to all new relational dynamics. And it's going to be hard for you to really allow for this change in whatever you're trying to create or build or make, if you try to thwart change, because you want, you know, again, allow your vision to shift, because it has to. You have to let go of the past. You're being called to, but you're not being called to let go of the past as lost. You're being called to let go of the past as a major gain. You're going to be in a space of new incarnation. So let everything that you're trying to do, let there be a whole new cycle. and don't try to push that off. And in terms of what the energy that you're bringing into this time, you're bringing this energy of like, you know, being like passionate and inspired like you usually are, but with like a level of intellect. I don't know how to explain it. I can't, you know, I'm getting sort of the vibe, but I'm not getting the words and the imagery so much, but it's a very powerful stance. And so, you know, and what Spirit is saying is like, you don't need too much in the way of imagery or words. Just understand that that Spirit's like, just please accept the changes in yourself and the way that ends up changing and shifting the dynamics of the stuff that you're trying to do, and let in some new energies. And whoever this Aries is, let in the new friend, and the early energy that came through, that clarification related to whichever Aries has their gaze sort of dropped in this direction. Yeah, that person, that energy didn't hurt you the way you thought. That energy did something really smart for you. And so in terms of what Spirit would have you leave behind during this period of time, wow. Okay. Spirit at the bottom of the deck, we have the Death card. Don't freak out with the Death card. It means change. It means transformation. You know, and it's good, right? Because everything that Spirit would have you leave behind, you know, the Sun is the happiest card in the deck. When it's upside down, it's the most miserable card in the deck. So, and it's dependent, you know, the way I read reversals in like a really interpretive way, and sometimes I see them as repression, and sometimes I see them as the opposite meaning. But in this position, and what's coming through from Spirit right now, is that what you need to let go of at this time is holding on. There's change. There's change inside you. And that there's change in, there's change in everything in terms of, so the change of your energy and your vibrational shift is just bringing in stuff that's going to match your vibration and where you're supposed to be. And so, like, Spirit would have you stop fighting the battle of sustaining what isn't serving you. Stop fighting the battle of holding on too tight. Stop fighting the battle of keeping things as they are. Stop fighting the battle of trying to like have command over your environment, people, places, things. Let go, because you're going to allow for this transformation. And the reason that you're going to allow for this transformation without fear, by the way, is because you're miserable, right? Or have been miserable in the ways that things are. And you're feeling you're feeling alienated almost. There's a sense in which you feel like left out and like too alone, too independent, too much by yourself. Like you've worked so hard to create the beauty of independence, the beauty of accomplishment, to feel successful and have this pride in the way that you've done things, in the way that people have seen you do things, to get the recognition that you deserve. So that not happening has, like, you know, it's almost like stopped you in your tracks. It's like you almost, there's this false belief that nothing new that's coming is good. And Spirit would have you know you're wrong about that. You know, Spirit really wants you to let go of, you know, beliefs that everything is terrible in a certain way and unchangeable. Let go of this idea that, like, you know, you're alone in the world. No one sees you for who you are, and all of that work you put into yourself, you know, it has just left you isolated, even in a group of people, even in a crowd, even in family, even in a party. You know, feeling like it's not safe to like people, you know, feeling like people aren't looking at you right, feeling like people are getting you wrong, feeling misunderstood. Let it go. Let it go. Your belief that there's nothing new coming and that's any good, let that go. That's wrong. You're wrong about that. There's so much new that honors and that is like supercharged and is gonna feel good. And Spirit says, don't fear the change. Don't fear the change. The metamorphosis. That's what that card is about. Do not fear that metamorphosis. So busy fearing that metamorphosis, it's almost like you're cutting off your limbs. Yeah, Spirit is showing me, like, you know, Spirit's saying, like, I am sending you, and I have sent you information. Like, there's a sense in which you've heard the call. So that's what Spirit's saying. And so, you know, to the extent that, you know, it's time to sort of answer that call, Spirit's saying, answer the call. It's good. That's a good call to answer. Like, it's a positive thing. You know, where you really need to explore emotionally. Wow, there's a lot going on here. Oh, and you got the butterfly again. You got this metamorphosis. So this at the bottom of the deck, in terms of what to explore, this is going on an exploration. This is leaving a chaotic place. I'm seeing like a chaotic place in your body, of restlessness, conflict, fighting, aggravation, moving out of that, you know, not sort of pouring your energy into being right, not pouring your energy in being seen the right way, being honored, being, you know, all of that stuff, like just moving out of that rough, choppy water of conflict, and moving into a calmer sort of place, because you know, allowing for this change, allowing for this new creative crowd and this leading opportunity, and like being reborn. Like, again, you're letting go of stuff that wasn't serving you, or belief systems that weren't serving you, and allowing, again, this is a major shift for Aries right now, but it's a shift that's related to receiving, and not being so fixed in your sense of thinking that you know everything. You don't know everything. You just don't. So Spirit says there's a lot you don't understand. This is a little bit of a tough love read for Aries, but I think that it is all for the best, because I'm seeing beautiful things come your way. I mean, the reading, you know, what I'm feeling from Spirit and what's coming through so clear is like this idea that, like, you know, being shown, I guess it's there's like an old saying or whatever it was, but there's like a dog like holding onto a bone, like starving dog holding onto a bone, like it's just like this dead bone that it's like holding, and it's starving and it has it in its mouth. And Spirit's like holding out a steak and the dog isn't going to give up that bone, because that's its source of food that it understands, to take the steak, because it's too afraid to spit out the bone. And so Spirit's coming and saying, like, spit out the bone, I have a steak for you. So all of that, you know, to get that message through, because you have been thwarting and fighting against change to such a degree. It's making you, this is the card, like when it's in the upright, it means healing from sickness. When it's not in the upright, it means not, right? And so, or like healing from pain, healing from betrayal, healing from, you know, but when it's not in the upright, it's not healing, right? And so Spirit wants you to do a little bit of deep, you know, to do some exploring, to explore what it would mean to let your foundation crumble, which sounds like a horrible thing, but you're new, and you're new almost every single day. So this idea that you can hold things in stillness, things aren't meant to be held in stillness. Being shown, you know, this came through in another reading, the atom, like the, not atom, like the person, atom, you know, neutron, electron, you know, the building block, you know, everything that we're made for, it's moving, you know, it's not fixed. And so Spirit would just like, is pushing on you to allow for some real movement. Allow for a kind of crumbling of like these fixtures in your life that you have been like, you know, holding to, you know, forcing together, forcing up. You know, I see it's like a house that wants to fall, and you keep on putting the I'm seeing like big pieces of wood that are propping up a house, you know, and it actually, you know, it's not that's not sustainable. And so Spirit would have you really think about like all of the propping up to keep things the same that you've been doing, and the fact that it is not allowing you to enter a place of healing. And, you know, there's a word, it's not like coming through in a clear way. It's, starts with an R. It's not replenishment, but it's something like that. It's not rejuvenation, it's something like that. Anyway, there, I can't, hopefully it'll come through, but Spirit really wants you to think about this idea that, like, you know, by forcing, you know, but your strength in being able to hold everything together when it's trying to fall apart is not serving you in terms of your healing process. This card in the upright is related to victory. But there's a sense in which Spirit wants you to confront this idea of well, there's a number of things coming through. One, confront this idea of having to be right. Two, confront this idea that you haven't been victorious. You know, this is the sense in which you feel like you haven't had the victories that you felt like were supposed to be coming towards you. So there's like a holding on to that. There's a holding on to that, like bitterness and anger. And Spirit, again, is like this, and like this reading for you, Aries, is about letting things that need to end, because you have a way of keeping things going. You really do. This card when it's upright is like that is a painful ending. Upside down is holding on, and like, you know, something painful that isn't ending. And so that's, you know, that's the interpretation that's coming through. And so Spirit wants you to look at this stuff, really wants you to look at this stuff, because your call during this time is to allow what is naturally happening to happen, because it's already happened and it is happening. And with that change and that rebirth and that like healing and that like newness, new energies are coming in, and they're coming in to feed you, to nourish you, to honor you. Okay, it's been really difficult. It's been really difficult, and you're just like a mess. I'm telling you, I can, like, listen, Aries, I give these readings with nothing but love in my heart, and I don't, you know, when Spirit brings through a tough message, it's tough for me too, because I don't love these tough messages, but Spirit's like, I am offering you, and what is coming in is so incredible. It's like, and you're moving towards, again, Spirit has you moving out of this chaotic, trying to hold on, trying to keep things as they are, trying to control, trying to manage, trying to facilitate. I mean, I could go on and on and on, moving away from that, allowing for this metamorphosis to really take hold. And what does that mean? It means if the foundation is crumbling, you let it crumble. You don't keep propping it up, because you need to, first and foremost, above all, allow for the healing that Spirit, again, through nourishment and this, you know, Spirit holding that stake, you know, wants to give you like this, wants to give you victory, a sense of victory, a sense of it's a word that starts with an R, and somebody knows what it is, and I do not. And Spirit wants you to evaluate this belief system, that there haven't been victories, because Spirit is like, Spirit is, again, you don't know everything, and Spirit is saying the victories that you are not aware of, that come with, again, letting things that need to crumble, letting things that need to end. You're powerful enough to prop everything up forever, but it's not good. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. It's not allowing for you to step into that place of rebirth and like your new incarnation. Spirit says you've no idea the joy, the being held, the being understood, the being seen, the being honored. Hearing the phrase important bond. Okay, so letting things end is like one of the best things that you can do for yourself in this month. Letting things fall apart a little bit is like the best thing you can do for yourself in this month, because Spirit really wants to take you out of some of this negative stuff. There's no need for it. It's not necessary. So, you know, in terms of like, you know, being mindful, wow, let's see. This is usually, in the upright, this is generally like, I always think of it as the marriage card. Upside down, I kind of think of it as like, well, what Spirit is bringing through in this instance is that, like, Spirit's saying, like, allowing institutions to just have a slightly looser hold on you. Maybe that's dogma. It might be like church dogma. It could be, you know, like rigid belief systems that sort of guide you in terms of values and so on and so forth. Just allowing there to be a little bit more breathing and a little less holding tight to some of that dogma, some of those institutions, and sort of that it's not, you know, it's orderly, but it's not working. And again, this is related to allowing for some change. And so the rigid belief systems that sort of dictate how you value things, Spirit wants you to allow for more room and just like loosen your grip a little bit. You have been, again, back to this space of like learning, you know, you're in a new way, and you're in a new way that is related to, you're smarter. I'm trying to get there's a cool message coming through that is funny almost. Your perspective is sharper. You've always been smart, and you've always been able to make sense of things, but there's like a cerebral shift in the way that you're processing information that's new. And this is calling you to not try and, again, this card means holding on too tight, thinking that like what you have isn't enough. Like thinking what you have is not enough, and that you have to hold on to everything you have because of the feeling of not enough. And so it's just like a clinging, you know. So there's like this, you know, 4 of coins. He's like only got 4 coins, and he's clinging to them and making sure he knows where they are. They can't get stolen, and you know, this idea is like it's a scarcity. And so to the extent that like Spirit is having you, like, again, more butterflies, more metamorphosis, open your mind, become a sort of new student of the world and seeing things in a new way, processing things differently is what I'm being told. You know, be mindful to like allow yourself to let go of some of this clinging on stuff that is like a dead tree, you know, like clinging to something that doesn't live anymore. There's a sense in which Spirit would have you know that during this time, available to you is a safe, comfortable, I'm being shown like a super comfy chair, and it's you know, this card is usually associated with charity, but what it's really coming through is allowing yourself to receive from others, things that are comforting, things that you find comforting. You know, you may be feeling a little bit like the passion that always like sort of drove you around is submerged. Like this is like, you know, this is a gift of passionately, like so in the upright, you know, this is the gift of passion, passionate new inspiration, like passionate new love, you know, passionate new beginning, you know, and it's a gift from the divine of this. And so to the extent that you're just feeling like, you know, what was your sort of like passionate, inspiring gift, and the way that you know, operate through that, feeling like that is submerged, Spirit is saying, like, be mindful of this, because this gift has never left you. It's basically this clinging and holding on too hard that is obscuring like what is there and what is your power from your sight. And so now we're going to move into the part of the reading where we pull some oracle cards for some direct advice from Spirit on how Spirit would want you to proceed. You've got really good energies coming in. I mean, that's this thing about this reading. You know, this reading seems like it feels like a tug of war between what Spirit wants to give you and offer you, and what you're trying to hold on to really, really tight. And it's a very intense tension that I'm feeling for you, Aries. But the advice that Spirit wants you to have about this period of time, and the cards are sort of sticking, so, oh, a bunch. I'm just going to take them all. And I'm also going to take a couple of these word cards that we have here. I like direct messages from Spirit sometimes. It's pretty cool. I'll read these to you in a second. Just let Spirit bring the right card out for Aries, please. Okay. Being told a couple more. There's more. Spirit is saying keep going. Oh, there. Okay, and there. All right. All right. So advice that Spirit has for you. It's kind of a lot, actually. Let's see what we've got here. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way so you can see better. All right. And I'll try to remember to hold up the cards I'm talking about. I often forget, but I will try to remember. All right. Spirit's message to you is like a love fest. Because you, Aries, you're very loved, all right? Maybe you haven't been feeling that way. You know, there's a sense in which, like, a home feels far away, feels alien, and the way that you perceive home, the way you're comfortable at home, the way that it's almost like you're like, this isn't it anymore. You know, I'm not at home in my life anymore. And so Spirit is like really, the advice from Spirit is like, you have been far from home. You have been a long way from home, but you also have been traveling. And you have a beautiful, I love this card so much. I don't even, yeah, this is like, let me just hold this up. See if you can get in the frame. Yeah. Spirit has so much for you in the way of like soul family, soul tribe. There are so many people related to related to you at a soul level, that now that you've sort of like are reborn, and you have been reborn into this new sort of vibrational energy, that you're attracting you know, towards you. And so this is a very nurturing, very watery energy that's always been yours. That's like, you know, Spirit is like saying like, you are this close to blooming, you know, and it's like I'm seeing a flower like that's closed against the cold, and the sun hits and it just like opens right up. And so Spirit is like, you are so close. You know, it's Spirit saying, you know, to the extent that you accept that you're feeling a little bit unmoored, there's I'm trying to see this clearly. To the extent that you are feeling this homelessness, like very deep, Spirit is saying like there is a home, and it means that you kind of have to like let your grip loosen just a little bit on being so sure and right about everything, because your glow up is right on the horizon. And there is, like, again, we have this butterfly, you know, not only are you like ready to bloom, you know, personally, emotionally, in a heart space, in your mind space, but what you're creating from this is going to be, let me listen for a second. Like you are ready to bloom, and your creations are ready to bloom into a kind of like, you know, what your creativity and the garden that it will produce. Because Spirit wants you to know that like what you're made of is pure magic. Your ability to manifest what you're dreaming into matter and like make it real is off the charts. This is part of your gift and who you really are. And so there's a lot of stuck stuff that you have to move through, but you are this magical, amazing creature. And being far away from home, you know, in that feeling space, like, but this is home. Okay, so the theme is that you're like very much that there's a home coming. And so that's this shift that's taking place. Like, and oh, look. So this says I am pure magic. And you are. Your ability to manifest is remarkable, and you know that. all this change that you're so fearful of, and you are so fearful of this change. I don't know what you're attributing far more to this change than it really, you know, is. The spirit is letting me know, like, the change is major in your life, but you're phobic toward it because you're thinking that it means a lot more loss than it actually means. The spirit's saying it's an introduction of vitality and not a lack of it. You know, so this says the universe supports me in every way. The universe is supporting your changes. You know, the more that you stand up for what you believe in, for yourself, not for others, but for yourself, the faster you're going to get where you're going. So there's change. And it's beautiful change, and it's magnificent change, and this little tug of war that is related to trying to keep everything as it was. You're driving yourself crazy. And Spirit says, put that down. I have such beautiful, beautiful things to offer you. So, though, you know, this is a great opportunity for growth and some really cool things coming in. So that's all I got for you, Aries. And I'll see you next month. All right.